As I got a little bit older and I play that night back, and I read the different stories that were, the different reports that were told, I recognized that I was in one of those episodes when I shot my mom. And what I didn't know at the time was how. So my name is Tammy. My friends call me Jojo. I am originally from Columbus, Ohio. I'm born in Akron, Ohio, and I am 44 years old. So I moved from Columbus, Ohio to work at Google. I do have kids. I have a 22-year-old girl who's back in Ohio, and then I have my 17-year-old son and my 10-year-old son here with me. Growing up in Akron, Ohio, it was just me and my mom. My dad died when I was 3. And she pretty much raised me as a single mom. I would say that my mom and I were pretty close. There were, of course, mother-daughter, disagreements, but we were really close. What she didn't know is that I was being sexually molested by my cousins, and that I was being bullied at school. She did not know those things until way later. I was diagnosed with nightmare or terror disorder, night terror disorder, and dissociation disorder, and PTSD. My mom would pad the walls because as a result of the night terrors, I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would run through the house and leave out the front door. I was hurting people now in my dream that I didn't want to hurt. And so the only way that I could get away in my dream was to jump off of something, or I had to kill myself in my dream. Now, I didn't understand what suicide was at the time because that's not what I called it when I was 12. It was more like a reincarnation. If I could just take myself out and start over, then I wouldn't have to worry about some of the things that were happening to me. There was a gun in the house, and I didn't know who it belonged to, but I remember seeing it, and then I didn't mess with it. When I went to go find the gun, where I last saw it, I couldn't, it wasn't there. And so my guess is, as an adult, I think that my mom probably saw that I messed with it, and so she moved it. That's my guess. But what happened in that moment is it made me determined to find it, because now I had a plan, and I wanted to die, and I couldn't find the gun. When I found it, I remember feeling so relieved, like, okay. And so I took the gun to bed with me that night, and I put it under my pillow. And the goal was, if something were to try to mess with me, then I would shoot it, and then I would take my life so that I could start over. This was the idea. As I got a little bit older and I play that night back, and I read the different stories that were, the different reports that were told, I recognized that I was in one of those episodes when I shot my mom. And what I didn't know at the time was how. Apparently, I shot the gun in the house several times, and my mom would sleep on the couch. After I said it out loud, that's when I was taken into custody. I didn't want people to know what I had done. By this time, I think that one of the biggest challenges was that my mom wasn't there. So here I am with this big secret. I've been in an institution since the time I was 12. People are already saying I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to function. So I'm scared because some of that stuff was spoken into me. But then I had the other part that was spoken into me from different church organizations that came into the institution that said, hey, and that's where my spiritual life grew too. Like, hey, no, you are forgiven, you are loved, you are chosen, so I had these opposing sides, and I realized that I had to choose which identity I was going to take. And, eventually, of course, me being here now, I chose the better one, but the struggle inside was still really hard. I learned how to go above what people say or think about who I am and what I can become. There's always a time when the smoke clears. There's always a different season that you can walk into, but it's going to start with who you are accepting what you've done, and not choosing to be the victim or not choosing to be what other people call you, but what is it that you want to be? I just want to be the example, and I don't want people to just hear it. I want them to see it in my life. So when I say I was sexually molested, I was bullied, I committed murder, my victim was my mom. You know, I was in an institution from 12 to 21. You know, I was in a dark place. I tried to kill myself. When I was in an institution, I cut on my arm. But here I am today. I'm 44. You know, I have a great job. I'm about to be married to an amazing person. I have a group of wonderful friends, and I have advocates and people that know me from that time until now that can say the same thing. That's important.